Hey guys, it's winter, it's cold, and we're going to have to buy fuel oil to keep us warm, and possibly going to have to buy quite a lot of it. And so we're thinking about cheap sources and which oil is the cheapest that's available to buy. Obviously, it's important, and we've all seen the YouTube videos of people burning all sorts of oil and announcing that it's burning and it's fine, it's providing loads of heat and no problems at all. I mean, is that it? I mean, the big question mark really is what type of heater you've got. And most of the videos are describing internal heaters like this type, which has got a wick, or the call this medium tech because it's got this fantastic radiant heater and it burns really hot, you know. The high-tech one, I've got one down there. I've done a few videos on that, cleaning it out and everything, and that's that converts the oil into a gas, and it burns the gas, and everything's blown into the room, the workshop. And then we've got the old type where it doesn't get to the sort of heat that these beauties do, but they still kick out plenty of heat. The thing is that all the oils burn. That's not a problem. You know, the problem is what's actually in the fumes, and why are there these different grades of oil available? I mean, if you're going to be mixing whatever, you know, oils that are not meant to be burned indoors, you're going to be taking a big risk, because there's a whole host of toxic metals and chemicals that are contained in the product of combustion. And so it's worthwhile actually having a look at the two top levels of heating oil. And I'm going to use the British standard for this, and I'll just tell you the standard that we're looking at, and it is British Standard 2869, and it deals with home heating oil. So these are oils specifically designed for heating the home, and there are two high-end types, C1 and C2. C1 is highly refined to remove as much of the toxic poisons as is possible, because it is designed for burning within the home. So all the fumes stay in, you know, you breathe those fumes, all right? So in the case of the burner down there, there's an actual fan blowing all the product of the combustion into the room. So you get everything. Similarly with this type, you get the radiant heat and the gas, the fumes coming up out of this internal flue. So you want to be burning the most highly refined oil for this, and I'll give you some examples, and I'm going to put the specs down in links below. But I'm going to give you an example. For the highly refined C1 compared to the heating oil C2, which is vented to the outside world. Zinc for C1 is maximum 5 milligrams per kilogram. For the vented fumes, C2, 300 milligrams per kilogram. Copper, everything on the C1 is 5 maximum. So copper is 5. On the C2 it's 40. For lead, obviously you know about lead poisoning, lead on the C2 is 25, 5 times more lead. Halogen chlorine, which was a gas in World War I, C1 it's 5 again, C2 it's 150. And this is a gas that was used in the war for gassing people. And so if that's coming into your house, you know, you're going to understand why you might be having irritant eyes, you know, and runny nose and feeling drowsy and everything, you know, because in fact you're poisoning yourself. If you haven't got access to the highly refined C1 grade, and in the UK it's called the Paraffin, and it's going to be coming in containers, and you're going to probably see a picture of an indoor heater. That's going to indicate to you that that it's meeting the requirements, and you can breathe that. And the big problem then is ventilation, because as it burns the oxygen, so the CO2 levels go up to dangerous levels. But the basic products that remain in after combustion, they are controlled. And also, although you're paying more for that, you are getting more energy. It produces, when it's burned, it produces 10% more heat. So for example, if you are looking and there's the cheaper oil, it might be 15% cheaper. In actual fact, yeah, you know, it's only 5%. It's only 5% cheaper, because 10% it just doesn't have the energy. It's less refined. The other problem is going to be damaging your equipment, because the C2 this is high grade heating oil. The C2 heating oil, it leaves behind 20% more deposits in your equipment. 20% more. And you'll see if you look at the British standards in terms of ash. Ash on the C1 grade is 0.01, and on the C2 it's 0.2. 20 times more ash is left behind. So in terms of your gasifier and your flame burner, that's why if you're using cheap oil, you're going to have to keep stripping it to keep it clean. So not only are you slowly poisoning yourself, getting less heat energy from it, but you're also clogging up your system. And that's just as bad with these wick-based systems, because the heating oil that's where the fumes are vented, it's thicker, so it doesn't wick very well. So you can burn out your wick, which may be quite expensive anyway. You can burn out the wick, and anyway it clogs up with the 20 times plus ash deposits. So we haven't even looked at diesel and jet fuel and how you need to thin it down and what you're going to put in to thin it down. Because at the end of the day, if you're using an indoor heater, you're going to be breathing the fumes. All right. So you need to be careful about that. You need to be responsible for yourself, but I mean, if you've got family, you know, they're trusting you in you. So if you have a chimney like I have, I could use this. If I couldn't get hold of the high grade stuff, I could put that in the chimney. I could get the heat from the radiant heat of this. I'd obviously lose a lot of heat up the chimney, evacuating the fumes, but at least I wouldn't be poisoning myself. But clearly, you know, when you compare that to having a more expensive oil, but you know, it's safe to actually breathe because it's so highly refined. In actual fact, you know, you're going to be getting more bang for your buck in reality, and you'd be better off actually searching around for the cheapest source of the highly refined oil. But I mean, just be careful. All these videos on YouTube that are saying you can burn this, you can burn, yeah, you can. Obviously you can, it's oil, you can burn it. The only problem is that you're also having to breathe the products of the combustion, and yeah, you know, that's what you need to take care of. So if at all possible, you want to be buying the highest refined oil that is specifically to match specification for indoor heating. And all the oils that are lower grade than that, they are all for a vented flue out into the open. And same with the jet fuel. You know, there's YouTube videos saying you can use jet fuel. It's chock-a-block full of chemicals, you know, and you're going to breathe those chemicals in the atmosphere. You know, those chemicals are there to keep the jet engine working fine. They're not there for you to breathe because they're blown out into the atmosphere. So I would give jet fuel, aviation fuel, a miss also. Yeah, you know, there's no easy solution other than try and find the cheapest source for the highest grade fuel, because you know you don't want to poison yourself. Okay, that's it, guys. I'll put the links below, and you can check the research, but it's all done and dusted. Okay, good luck. You know, stay warm and stay safe. Okay, bye for now.